Three doors, three worlds. They stand still, yet they hum. Each one holds a mood, a landscape. Yet you don't walk through them. They open themselves. And yet not for you, not for anyone else. Just because they exist. Iron, smoke, ginger, sharp, shadowed, warm. So, let's stand before them and hear what they have to say. Today we have 3 new fragrances of Serge Lutens that I added to my collection, and we're going to start with the release of 2024, Fille Tour De Fer. It is a very recent release. I jumped on it as soon as I heard of it. Here is the poetic promise. Here's the landscape. Steel, cold to touch, but not lifeless. It breathes, it drills through the air, high frequency, sudden, piercing, like a blade striking a metal. There is warmth from the fire in the distance, but not visible. Only felt. Mystery lingers here. Does it whisper of the Eiffel Tower in its metallic heart, shimmering in the Parisian skyline? Or is it the spirit of Parisian women, sharp and unyielding, yet full of grace? Fille Tour De Fer, steel in motion, sharp edges that linger but don't overwhelm, like something alive but untouchable. Okay, poetry aside, this one caught me off guard. It is a metallic rose. It is bold. It is, yes, I do feel the metallic sharp edge, but there is also surprising softness beneath that promised metallic sheen. There's a hint of rose notes, but I feel that it reminds me of a rounded up or brightened, sharpened Bulgarian rose oil. Overall, it's giving me this industrial chic and definitely not a scent for cuddling. This is for striding confidently into a massive warehouse with commanding presence, preferably wearing something tightly fitted and sharp. And when I was looking for something in my collection that I could compare with Fille Tour De Fer, I haven't found that many dupes, partially because I feel that my taste doesn't cater toward these classical Bulgarian rose oil scents. I actually don't really like that particular profile of rose scents. Therefore, oddly enough, unique in my collection. Would I have bought it again? It's a very good question, because when it comes to fresh roses, I usually prefer something more classically musky sour. Think Blouse, Yves Saint Laurent. Actually, to that end, Burberry Body, their Eau de Toilette version. Or to that end, a beloved but discontinued Rosa Verde by Valentino, which though still have like a bucket of. So if you want to try these fresh, also kind of piercing but fresher, not as drilling. The Rosa Verde to me is more fleeting, flowy, but it's still very fresh bergamot rose. I can share a bottle with you if you want. When we're talking about these sharp edges of rose, another fragrance that I could think of, but with a much heavier, more wine-like sharpness, is Un Rose, or now called Rose Tenaire by Frédéric Malle. Here we're really transitioning toward the more sour, kind of tannin, sharper edges of rose that kind of takes us to the red wine category of scents. That said, somewhere in between the two, I feel that the Iron Rose, the Steel Rose by Serge Lutens is missing a bit of a edge. It has plenty of drilling of my brain with this sharp, piercing, metallic notes, but yet it doesn't grab me as deeply as I wish it could. Also, I have to give kind of my own critique some discount. Take it with a grain of salt. This is not Bulgarian rose, like these metallic, sour, tannin type of roses are not quite my cup of tea to begin with. A 2024 release that I think is on trend with the brief. If we're looking for that floaty, strong, long-lasting, leaving a lot of trail type of contemporary floral, that's actually quite a good selection. It somewhat reminds me of Ghost in the Shell by Tadley Bergerange by its kind of piercing presence and almost like confusing roundness versus sharpness, which makes it interesting, but to me not as wearable, especially not inside. I would only probably wear this outside. It will be interesting to see how it opens up in really cold weather. Like if you're living up north, this might get a more crystallized, pure presence in cold air. I live in Florida. I can't really test it right now, but that would be interesting. I am not mad about this blind buy, but is it my new favorite light rose? Probably no. I probably would still go with Rosa Verde by Valentino. What about you? Do you think a fragrance can pull off metallic vibes? Or is it too much of a factory floor with drops of rose oil for your liking? So let's see. Let's see how the audience self-assigns. Are you more into industrial elegance, or are you team thank you, no thank you, not for me? Let me know in the comments. It's time to open the door number 2. Écrin de Fumée, the release of the year prior, and here is the landscape. Smoke. What is the universe of smoke? It lingers, never quite dissipates, yet it's barely there, like traces of ash on the fingertips. The smell of a fire long gone, its story only told through the warmth still held between the fingertips. Sometimes the smoke that's grainy and bitter, other times smooth and creamy, like it's hiding sweetness that it will never fully reveal. There's no campfire, no raging blaze. It's whisper of warmth, a shadow that traces without a source. Écrin de Fumée. Smoke is promised. To me, when I wear it, it's mostly the sweetness that stays. It's like spice, borderline chocolate / gingerbread baking in the quiet of well-warm kitchen when it's really chill outside. This one is a cozy type of mystery. It's subtly smoky in a baked kind of way, but not in the way that screams barbecue or campfire. So it's more like elegance that to me borderline is edible. It's very baked, and all the cacao and chocolate notes and the sweetness here to me really refers to almost like an aftertaste of a gingerbread, berry, vanilla type of cake, like everything together. But, you know, the sweet spice treat that's so comforting that it feels like a warm hug. I'm also getting hints of By the Fireplace by Maison Margiela Replica Exchange, and yet the latter to me was less wearable than this one. So that one, it was more smokier than Écrin de Fumée. And also, oddly enough, it reminds me of a lot of other creations by Serge Lutens that feature vanille. So in some way, Écrin de Fumée, as lovely as it is, and I'm happy about this as a blind buy, it feels quite self-referential. It's very self-referential of nearly all spicy, somewhat smoky, or dried fruit fragrances that I've been exposed to. For example, something La Nuit à Doha from Stéphane Berluca to me is in the same category, and so is Fabulous Boukhara from the boutique line of Salvador Dali. They all to me sing the same, maybe not exactly the same tune, but they're from very similar genres. Probably less similar, but still from that idea of a baked but not edible, somewhat softly spicy gourmand, I feel is Orange Moresque, which has way more a kind of orange peel in it, by Chopard. Is that a super unique perfume that I could not live without? I don't think so. However, is undoubtedly a delightful addition to my collection. I'm curious, how do you see the fit of self-referential releases? Do you appreciate it like a sequel to your favorite family comedy? Or would you rather see something that stands on its own, even if it has the potential to disappoint you or to be too far gone in the attempts to be different? Let's unpack the layers in the comments. I'll be waiting for your opinions on this one, because to me, this is controversially comfortable. 5 o'clock Au Gingembre. Our third world, the third door to walk through. Ginger. Heat without a flame. Tea, honeyed, golden, glowing, sweet, but not cloying, not sugary. It's like the rising steam of spicy sweetness that carries no rush and it doesn't burn your nose. It's a moment suspended, warmth in the middle of a chill. 5 O'Clock Au Gingembre, to me, isn't about time or certain time. It's about the pause in between moments, the calming breath between moments. No real tea leaves. It's the tea that already poured and mixed with, maybe it's a linden tea, maybe it has honey, maybe it has some even drops of chocolate. Just slowly cooling, waiting to be consumed. This is a contender to be the coziest compared to Écrin de Fumée. But it's not this basic cozy. It's not sweater, weather, pumpkin spice. It's actually more like, as they say, sugar ginger. And yet I get a very typical round vanilla as Serge Lutens does vanilla. It gives me vibes of Jeu de Peau, or to that end, a little leftover that I have of Santal Majuscule that was made after 5 O'Clock Au Gingembre. So in this sense, Santal Majuscule, if you love it, is referential of this one, and much, much sweeter, much, much more syrupy, I would even say. I don't even get that much Santal in this story. Here we get a really nice, soft juxtaposition of ginger versus this typical, very round softness and depth of Serge Lutens vanilla. It doesn't slap you with ginger. That's what I really like about it. And yet, if you are looking for ginger here, similar to how we get pure, spicy, bursting ginger chords in, let's say, Prada, Infusion de Gingerbread, which is a very fresh, lemony ginger, somewhat musky, or a much more affordable option, Eau de Gingerbread by 100 Bon, which I think this is a affordable scent company that mostly sells in Europe, but you can get it in Canada and the United States as well if you look online. So here the stories of ginger are more like lemon ginger candy. It's very fresh, it's very eau de cologne, and depending how big of a fan of ginger candy you are, it's either the most satisfying little morning spritz for you, or more like, to me, it's somewhat underwhelming, cute sketch of ginger, but to me, ginger, freshly cut ginger, has much more dimension. That said, if you are onto finding the perfect ginger, I would say 5 O'Clock Au Gingembre is also not it. It's not a water painting. It's not a naturalistic ginger portrait. Neither it is the portrait of 5 O'Clock tea to me. It's a very imaginative, abstract painting that only loosely references the original concepts. And here's a question to you, tea lovers and ginger lovers. Are you into the spicy yet cozy vibes? Or does this combination of sweetness and ginger make you think a bit much about cookies? Let me know if this is your cup of tea or not. And here we have it. Iron Rose, smoked chocolate cake, gingered vanilla. 3 worlds, 3 moods. They're not asking to be understood. They're just there to be noticed, to be experienced. I'm very happy with the 3 blind buys that I did in the new year. Maybe they will linger with me. Maybe they'll fade. Time will show. I'm curious, which one would you walk away with? Or maybe none at all? Let's hear it. Tell me your door into the world of Serge Lutens, your story, your fragrant landscape. I'll be waiting for your comments. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That will be really great help to me to grow this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.